All right. Hello and welcome to the stream. We're going to be trying some more poker today. See how we do. Been not doing great lately, but we're learning. I'm okay with, these early streams are going to be a little rough. I'm on chapter, what was it, probably 11? It blurred out the title. Anyways, I'm on chapter 11 of Modern Poker Theory. So, Chapter 11 is the beginning of the theory of flop play. So, likely that I've been trying to kind of fix my leaks pre-flop, and I still find them, still trying to patch them, but we're doing better, I think. So, next step is to try and get better at post-flop play. We'll see how that goes. Try practicing some more today. Hopefully not lose too much money. Alright, so let's do this. It's gonna be upset because I was spending time setting up the stream. So let's jump back in, and we'll probably have to resize the window here. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. That looks decent. Do we call him if he raises us? Here? Ace 8? Yeah. Don't get much though. You're gonna raise it on us? Seems like the flop better for me than him. Maybe he's aware of that? Maybe he also just timed out? No? Okay. We check back. Look to see what we got now. We have high card ace. We get it? No. We paired the jack. Nice. Okay, so starting with a little bit of a rough start, but we'll keep going, keep chugging along. I think that was one where, I think a big blind play is just, the blind play is a lot tougher than anything else because you're going to get into some weird spots. If you just throw away every hand that you get when you're in big blind or small blind, then you're going to get exploited. So you have to kind of be aggressive and at least play some hands as big blind to make sure that you're not just throwing away your money. Something interesting that the theory site said was just that, or the theory book is kind of talking about when it was talking about pre-flop play, is basically saying that I totally lost my train of thought. That essentially you're losing, you're minus 150 big blinds per 100 hands. Is that right? 15. You're basically, because you're starting at a disadvantage. Okay, so Jack King to the button as small blind. I think we fold that. Yeah, that was a good fold. Yeah, we had King Jack off. We will fold Jack 8 off in the hijack, or Jack 8 suited. Gosh, I should. It's in here somewhere, but it's probably in my notes too. But the idea is that you're kind of starting at negative X amount of big blinds per 100 hands played, because you are if you just fold every hand. And so even just getting back to 0 big blinds 1 per 100 hands, it still means that you're overcoming the inherent disadvantage of just paying the small blinds and big blinds. And so you're already doing pretty decently just by overcoming that disadvantage. So that's why we started by playing the ace something right off the bat there. Oh, it was King Jack offsuit. Or ace-jack offsuit, sorry. One of those. Anyways, 9-2 suited, also probably not good enough to play. King 10 is good enough to play. See if we can get something going here. Okay, we get a call. We have positional advantage here, which is good. See if this guy, what's going to happen here. We have top pair on a relatively dry board. I'm trying to reduce my bets to just have like 2 bet size. And so I think I'm going to try to stick with either half pot or full pot. Just because there's a big enough difference between the two that it should make a difference. Now, theoretically, if we were, if we gave the computer those 2 bet sizes, it would just converge at 3/4 pot. So optionally, we could do that. But I think that a lot of people default to 1/3 pot. So half pot's a bit bigger. We get middle pair here. I'm not super excited about it, but he just... so he limped. Possibly doesn't have an ace here. And with a 5-cent bet, I don't really know what he has here. I don't think he has anything interesting. If he's going to check all the way through, I'll just make him pay for it. Okay. Alright, that was something. Not much hands yet. We'll just see if we can play something interesting here. Queen 4 suited in the hijack is not. Well, at least we're positive for this session, and we're gonna get some limpers, so we'll at least get to see a flop here. Doesn't do us any good. We have what, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so we have a gut shot straight draw. Let me pull up my odds here. And we make the straight. Interesting. Hot. I mean, theoretically, if I could have been trying to maximize earnings there, I probably maybe would have played differently, but I'm not entirely sure what I would have done differently. 10-9 suited from the low jack is a play. It's not great, but it's supposedly in our range. Probably the very, very bottom of our range. Nice thing about it, like those low connected cards, is that they just, because they're at the opposite end of the range, they might have some sort of like unpaired Broadway, king, queen, queen, jack. And if they miss their pair, it's likely that I got a pair. Or it's likely that I have some sort of straight draw. And so, it's a better position than just being like one card below them. Like if they have king, queen, and I have queen, jack or something, I'm in a lot worse position than if I have something on the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So yeah, come by, check out the Discord. You can listen with me on Spotify. You can feel free to chat in the Twitch chat. I'll try to chat with you. I will probably get stressed out if you try to backseat drive. But other than that, we can hang out in the chat. So, still not getting a lot of great cards here. So very confused why this track is 15 minutes when it does not need to be. So that. Weird, like, the kid, I would have thought that, like, ace anything would have been great. And so there's a little bit of, like, programming I have to do in my head to remember that, you know, ace low number offsuit is not a very good hand. Like, my range doesn't even have me playing ace 3 offsuit as the button. And that's when you have the biggest positional advantage, the widest range. I guess it does have me playing ace 2 offsuit. It has me calling ace 2 offsuit, or I should say limping ace 2 offsuit as a small blind. But that's about it. Or in the big, if you're a big blind and you're facing a limp or a raise, it has me calling. But I don't think this is a raise here. I don't think this is good enough either, honestly. Again with the ace-x offsuit. See if we can get something better soon here. Queen 8. Not good enough to rebet with. So we'll let it go. Um, 10-2? No. Waiting for a good hand here. Try to just keep it easy, keep the blood pressure low. Have some water. Have some snacks. Flop 2 pair. Bet pot. See what happens. Pick the pot. It's interesting that I'm getting a lot more folds going full pot bet than half pot bet. Maybe I need to start, if I'm betting for value, I need to start using my half pot bet more. That's something I kind of need to study more too, is like when to use each sizing. How to try to use bet sizing to exploit my opponent. I think the idea is that as you... what was it? Dang it. See if I have my notes here. If I can remember what I read about bet sizing here. The bigger the polarization range advantage, the more EV and bigger bets the hero uses. That's right. So, now when it says polarization range, range advantage, I guess what it's meaning is that, like, you know, think of it as a spectrum with pocket aces at the top, deuces at the bottom. If my range is ace, ace, king, king, 2, 2, 3, 3, and their range is jack, jack, 9, 9, 10, 10, then we have the polarization advantage and we should be betting bigger. I think we raise there. That's actually probably not a great play there, but I think we just get the showdown here. Yep. That could have been dangerous because he's probably just going to go all in at the drop of a hat. And we really don't know what he has. King 10 off in the low jack is a fold. Yeah, so the thing is that, you know, if the villain is jack jack 10 10 9 9 and you're ace ace king king 3 3 2 2, you bet the same whether you have a 2 or an ace. And the idea is that because you want to make them indifferent to your bets so that they are doing the same thing every time as well. You're doing the same thing every time, they're doing the same thing every time. Is like where things converge. Now this is a crappy spot because ace queen offsuit. I think I will 3-bet him. I don't really like it though. Small blind versus hijack. It's at the very bottom of our 3-bet range, basically. If he 4-bets here, we fold. There you go. It's very probable he had a monster hand if he's 4-betting me. He 2-bet, I 3-bet, he 4-bet. I actually feel pretty good about that, like calling it before it happened and then just following through with the action. I feel like I analyzed the situation correctly and didn't get sucked into a bad spot, which I've been in before with ace queen. Ace queen seems to get me suited and unsuited. I lost like $2 on another hand where I had ace queen suited and the other guy had ace king off, and of course he wins. I don't think we do. A7, I could have called looking at the charts. I was just busy talking. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. So basically, like, you know, with that, you know, that betting, the range polarization effect, you know, if it's 9-9, 10-10, Jack-Jack versus 9-9, 10-10, Jack-Jack, it's smaller bet sizing. But so the bigger the range differentiation or polarization you have against your opponent, the bigger you should bet, basically. So in order to exploit that, you kind of need to know like where you are in your position and what you're doing. Here we call. We don't get much. But theoretically, I have the biggest range here. That was big blind, and I just called. So I could try to, but c-betting doesn't really make sense, so I think a check is good. And ace-3 is the straight here. I think we just fold. We don't really have anything. Yeah, the other guy folds too. King wouldn't have done us any good either, so I think that was a good fold. We minimized damage there. The fact that we're 57 hands in and we've only lost 30 cents, I feel pretty good about. I think that means we're playing conservative enough. And we just haven't really got any biters yet. I mean, that ace-jack was probably one of the strongest hands we've seen so far. We had an ace-queen off earlier. And 9 off as low jack. No. Button, yes. Cut off. Hijack, low jack, no. We will play that. Though again, it's pretty close to the end of our range, so if we get 3-bet here, we fold it. This guy has a low stack, so we have to kind of be aware of him. He could go all in or just do something weird. Okay. 2, 4. Gives us a straight. Now just a 4. Gives us a straight. only 10 cents. That's a third pot. We'll take it. We'll miss the straight. He might have missed his flush, but we have nothing. We have ace high. It's very possible he's just had a jack here. That's why he's been c-betting every time. I don't think there's any need to call him. I did make a new tag though on my poker tracker for what did he have. And after I start tagging hands, I'm going to start tagging hands more often with that. I think I just started like yesterday or today. And the idea is that we can maybe we can download the hands the day after we play them, and we'll know the whole cards. At which point we can figure out what he did have and decide if we did the right thing or not. We'll limp in with Jack 10. And of course we get 3-bet. So small blind versus a big blind raise. I don't think Jack 10 offsuit's good enough to stay in. We just let it go. Okay. Ace 10 suited is not bad. See what we get. Get one caller and 2 clubs. Okay, we make a middle pair there. We check it. We don't get anything. Just check all the way through. And we take it. Oh, he had the flush draw too. There would have been a big pot if there had been another club there for sure. But he only had 4-6, so we would have taken it, but it would have been interesting. I guess I could have bet there with the 10 pair. I mean, I'll have to go review that. Did he... I was worried that he had high pair. Hey, Eli815, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. We're just playing some 2-cent, 5-cent Zoom poker here. Trying not to lose all of our money. Only lost 32 cents so far. That's not bad. Looks like my time scale down on my graph might be a little janky. Feel free to hop into the Discord and listen to some music with me. I just don't want to deal with all the Twitch DMCA crap. Ooh. Not a great hand to defend a big blind with, that's for sure. King 3 offsuit. I think we just let it go. Don't like it, but that's just a pretty crap hand. Let 6-9 offsuit go as well. A 9-8 offsuit would have been playable from the button. Obviously not good enough. Ace 6. Playable as a button, but not in earlier position. Pocket 8s. Only playable. If we get 3-bet, we have to make a quick decision here. I think we call it. And of course we miss, but probably missing on him too, so try taking a stab at it. Now I'm a little scared. Huh. We call? Yeah, that's like a super tiny bet. We call there. Oh, get a pair of 8-10s. I mean, 30. Yeah, 30-cent bet is nothing. I have to go look at to where. I guess we lost most of our money on the flop when I bet half full pot. Yeah, I 3-bet him. He called. On the flop, he bet half pot. And I called. So at that point, the pot was $1.50. And then I bet at the last hand, which I didn't really need to do. I could have just checked through, but I wasn't sure what he had. Oh no, he bet. Alright. I'm gonna mark that as review and maybe go over it when the sanity timer's up. I mean, we have 10 makes a straight. Also have a backdoor flush draw. But he's just going to keep betting. Probably has at least a pair here. And he's just going to go all in. So, let it go. All right. Well, we are not getting a lot of great hands here. King 10 and a low jack. Offsuit. Keep waiting for a good hand here. Patient. Get too stressed out about it. I'll try to top back up. Okay. Queen king offsuit. Not the worst. This guy gonna go big? No. Whoa. Yeah, we call 5 cents. Okay, buddy. So no hope on a straight, but there's the hope of a heart. He doesn't have the king of hearts when we have a flush draw. He's given us about half pot. Which we need to win 25% of the time, and we have a flush draw that we have 20% odds on. I'll call. And we get it. But I was timed out. Dang it. That was a bummer. We had that. We could have probably bet him a lot more, but I took too long to think about it. I don't know if, I mean, the math was just about even there. In terms of whether that was actually profitable in the long run or not. I need to win it 25% of the time, and I'm going to make it 20% of the time. Okay. I think we call here. Hey, thank you. Danny F3 BRY. Appreciate it. Problem with having snacks during a stream. You get food stuck in your throat here. Okay. Alright, let's see what we got here. Not much. Check it through. The 3-way pot, we just have to assume somebody has something. Do you play at these stakes all the time, or are you doing a bankroll challenge? Good question. I'm basically pretty new to online poker. I've only started playing just like 3-ish weeks ago. And so I just started at these stakes because they're the lowest, and I also just didn't want to put... I personally, I can't really afford to put much money into poker, so I just bought in for $20. And my plan is to work my way up. So I guess it is a bankroll challenge, but not intentionally, just because I'm don't have a lot of money. But I'm also thinking that I'm just not very good at poker right now, so it's probably just going to be I'm going to stay at these stakes until I can actually win consistently. My win rate right now is like 4 big blinds over 100. So definitely want to get that up. So plan is to move up in stakes once I have enough bankroll to move up. But yeah, I'm not really down here by choice. All right. I'm also just kind of like, because I'm so new, I just figure I'm learning. I still got a lot to learn, and so I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm facing people much better than myself, because then I'll just be, shoving them all my money. So this is kind of an opportunity to just learn poker. I'm going through Modern Poker Theory, the book, right now, and hoping that I can kind of just trying to play as I'm learning, try to gain experience. All right, so we have ace high, but the board's not great. Was it Jack Queen will make the straight. Possible he also has. I mean, he's big blind. He called my 3-bet. It's possible he has 2 pair here. There's definitely a lot of chance for 2 pairs. And now we both have the straight, so it doesn't matter. It's just a split pot. Okay. I'm a little surprised that your chat is not exactly like fitting into the box. I don't know why that is. Oh, okay. I have to figure that one out later. Here we go. Yeah, you're stuck at 10 NL. Play on GG, so it's nice to watch someone playing at these stakes. Nice, yeah. Since I'm in the US, I don't know if I actually have access to GG Poker. I'll have to look into that. I have America. I did $20 on America's Card Room too, but I kind of like this better just because with the anonymous poker, my goal was to just focus on the fundamentals and not worry about trying to like include exploitation theory, like how to best exploit my opponent based on their HUD stats. I figure I can add that on later once I am comfortable with the fundamentals. But I feel like I'm not quite there yet. I need another month or two of studying before I'm at that level. All right. Why not? I should just do that more often. Feel the blinds. Seems like at these stakes, I mean, things are just kind of wild at these stakes. It feels like... Hey, Broken Stars, thank you for hosting the stream. And everybody else, appreciate it. We're playing some 5NL Ignition Zoom poker. And yeah, just trying to kind of learn as we go here. Yeah, trying to take it easy. Queen 6 not quite good enough to play from low jack. Hope for something better here soon. Yeah, 3-4 not good enough. Waiting for a good hand here that we can play. We just recently topped off. 4-5 offsuit. Not quite. My ranges I'm using from Jonathan Little on pokercoaching.com, and you know, most of the range don't, you know, from the button, I'm basically not playing any offsuit hands below like 8-7. Even 8-7 I'm not playing, so I should say 9-8 offsuit is the lowest offsuited connector hand I'd be playing from the button. Pair of twos. I don't think we really need to be calling up there. Just waiting for a good hand to play here. Haven't been getting much. Queen 7, we got, and with a limper. Jack 5, also not quite good enough. So sorry, this is a little bit boring of the stream, guys. Here we go. Here's an actual hand we can play. Of course, if we... Okay, so he goes for an overbet. Question is, do we limp? I don't think that this is quite in our... Try 4 betting, or sorry, 3 betting. See what happens. We get 2 callers. This is better for his range than mine. We don't really have much, and he just wants to push me all in as soon as he can. Oh, that was... Okay, so he does a full pot bet. Forcing me to either call or go all in. So I think I'll let that one go. Didn't have much there to play with. Top up. So we'll try to play, I've been just trying to stick to like an hour of playing and then maybe like a half an hour of examining, analyzing. So after our sanity timer is up, we'll just kind of switch to analysis mode and try to figure out where we went wrong on some of the big hands here. Looks like we really only had about 2 big losses on this session so far, which isn't bad, even especially considering they haven't been like full stack losses. A6. Not quite. All right. Suited connector we can play. Well, versus a cutoff RFI, 7-8 is a fold, at least according to our range. That's all right. Hoping for something good here. Something to maybe we can make up some of our losses with. There we go. Now I'm sure that no one will want to play with me here. So let's just watch these 2 fold. Oh, okay, we got 2 callers. We've flopped a set of aces, but the board is still pretty dangerous. There's king and a 10, potential flush draw, potential straight draw. In which case I think we raise them here and hope that they get out. I mean, it's possible that we're just going to go 3-way all in, but let's see what happens. Possible he has 2 pair. Yeah, so we're all going all in. So it's very possible he has Queen Jack here, in which case it's GG. But I think it's worth calling. Okay, he had 2 pair, but the other guy had the straight. Darn. Feel like trying to... Because of the flop texture there, we were definitely at, like, our aces weren't looking great. I mean, we called out the possibility for the straight. I guess considering it was a multi-weight pot, I should have maybe been more careful and been willing to toss it, but he didn't. Well, did he have the straight right away? He did. He had queen jack, so he flopped the straight. So I went all in early. I should have just called instead of going all in right off, instead of re-raising right off the bat. I think it just kind of overestimated my hand there. I mean, 3 aces is great if the other 2 cards are like 2-7, but 3 aces are definitely a lot less great when there's a king and a 10 on the board. So, also just a little bit of luck there, just bad luck that he happened to have queen jack. Alright, we'll buy back in. Play for the next 20 minutes and then head out. Definitely down a lot for the session, but that's alright. I don't know, that's tough. Do you go... I'm gonna make sure I mark that on my poker tracker here. Would that be a bad beat? I don't know, queen jack. He flopped the straight. He didn't even gamble. He just had it. So I think what I could have done there better is that I could have called the dollar bet, whatever, it was like half pot or pot that he bet, that the first guy bet. I could have called. If the other guy went all in, then I have the option of folding. And honestly, at these stakes, I just got to keep remembering that anybody who goes all in probably has the nuts. And just overfold in order to kind of avoid those situations. It's also just one of those boards where people like to gamble, and one of those spots where people like to gamble. I think maybe I just got sucked in and wanted to gamble. I don't know why I pressed buy in, but didn't buy in. So let's restart the session here. Okay. Ooh. I think we will stay out of the way here. No diamonds, no pairs, no nothing. I could just click fold now, but see what everyone has. Obviously, I'm going to lose my money. That's a given. All right, queen king offsuit. Queen. See if we can make up some of our money. Nope. I mean, I guess he has the range advantage here, right? But if he's checking, means he probably doesn't have much. Might have an ace. We could bet jack just to see if he's going to let it go. Yep. Nine? No. That uncentered chat box is gonna annoy the crap out of me. Okay. figure that one out later. I'm staring at it as it gets on. Like I can see the stream, I can see how it looks. It does not look great. Oh well. I kind of just messed with it right before we started the stream, just to get like the border on there. That's all right. You can even see the stream chat delay headers also off. Okay. So we got about 15 minutes left on the stream. We are down about $7 because we lost one all in. We had pocket aces. We lost to Queen Jack. Probably should have folded to our villains all in, but we decided to gamble. And yeah, that's all right. I'd be really curious to see like what the equity tool says we should have done in that spot, or says we had in that spot. All right, so we have top pair here. I kind of wanted to check just to see what people are doing here. Okay, so call. So we'll let the aggressor keep stating the terms here. I'm sure he's going to bet again. No, doesn't bet again. It's probable that he had like a flush draw. There are some straights on the board, but we'll bet just to see what happens. I wasn't looking at the pot size, so I way underbetted. Mistake. It's possible that he raises me. Okay. Take a little bit of a hand here. We get a merry metal number for our win-loss. They say it is not quite in our range for that spot. Queen, pair of queens. Only like our. Okay, we 4-bet this guy. See what he does. Have it. Okay. I'm actually not unhappy about that. Just doesn't make for an exciting stream when they fold to our giant hands. Okay, ace queen suited. Versus the button raise. We 3-bet that. So 39 cents. Got. He's gonna let it go. Okay. Couple of gimmies. We won 18 cents and 17 cents just from people holding to 3-bets. Which, okay, another ace queen suited. See if people decide to stay in. Nope. Big blind wants to play. He does. Yes. We have plenty of kings in our range here, so I think I'm just gonna bet it. Okay. Get it again. I'll take it. Slowly building back some confidence after that brutal loss there. Ace versus Queen Jack. Queen Jack offsuit. Yeah, that was rough. Do we call here? Yeah, I think we do. Man. So we have the straight draw with the 7. We have range advantage just because we were the caller. Yeah, we pick it again. People aren't cooperating. They're not giving us a fun stream to play with. But actually, those are good because you know, those are good takes because we don't really have a lot of showdown value, honestly. A lot of those hands. Now we'll just kind of wait for another big hand. See if we can get something interesting. I mean, it feels good watching the little green graph go back up, so that means that at least the positive direction and to the right. Check here. Is he gonna limp or is he gonna raise it? There you go. And like 4-2. Yeah, 6-4 Ninja says those small ones fund out bigger decisions later. Definitely. Yeah, and I mean, also, like, you know, the max buy-in in this spot is $5. So collecting all these small hands means now I'm a bit over a normal pot size, which means that I could, or sorry, I'm a bit over a normal buy-in, which means that I could, you know, potentially win more later. You know, it's like $1.30 more that I could win against an opponent than I would if I were just at the max buy-in. That is always good too. Mind, but 10-7 here isn't quite good enough to play, so let it go. Hold that. I was trying to figure out why the stream chat was like not fitting to the box, and then I see that 6-4 Ninja's text does fit in the box. So it must have just been like padding for icons, which theoretically I could disable and look a little nicer. Not getting a lot of good hands here. Jack 8 suited from the hijack is a pass. Trixie box, indeed. Indeed. What I need to do is just like all this stuff on the top right of my stream like looks a little disorganized, and so my next step is to make like a custom background that has like borders and nice text and all pre-done. Then I can just overlay the text right onto the background. I just haven't had the time to ask my graphic designer partner to do that for me. Well, not much here either. Got a pair of 4s. We have 2 pair. I'm sure he's got to have something. I'm really surprised he hasn't bet at all. We'll just do a min bet for our bottom pair. Fair enough, we'll take it. Yeah, you know, that was so there's like a podcast that I had been listening to when I first started streaming a while ago, and it's kind of all about like it's called the Twitch Playbook, I think, and it's really good. It's like little like 5-10 minute snippets on how to improve your stream, and one of his biggest pieces of advice was just to try to do incremental upgrades as much as you can, because it's easier to kind of like do incremental upgrades yourself, because you don't really want to like invest a whole bunch of money into your stream and then have to change everything. You want to stay flexible. But at the same time, it's also kind of easier to just do small incremental upgrades. Okay, so 6-4 Ninja asks, how many 18-cent hands do you have to win to afford a new background? I don't know. Probably, you know, I'm not even sure what the min cash out is on this. All right, well, here we go. Here we go. See if we can get some money out of this guy for trip queens. I don't think we're going to get much money out of him. Do you? Even if we do half pot. I feel like whatever I do, he's going to see through it or he's just going to fold. Even a half pot bet. Yeah. 31 cent hand. Yeah, no kidding. It's like those ones are tough because he doesn't have a queen, so my bet kind of comes off transparent. Like when I bet, it's obvious. I'm basically just saying I have the queen, and then he says, "Okay, I'll pass on taking a bet." So I could have checked through and maybe let him catch up. That probably maybe would have actually been the better route there. But I suspect that he wasn't going to give me any more money, no matter what happened. Here, I usually try to treat 5-cent bets as checks. We'll see. I actually probably should have checked there. Again, because that kind of was just, it became a face-up hand where he knew that I checked the flop, so I should have just kept checking through to disguise the fact that I had an ace. But we took it without a showdown, so not the worst outcome. People certainly do a lot of over folding at these levels, so it's kind of hard to get into like a big all-in hand, honestly, unless it's like, now if I were streaming at like Friday at 9 o'clock at night when everybody's drunk, then it's like all-ins every other hand. It's ridiculous. Do we call here? Call? Ooh. Not sure what to think about that. We have a heart. He checks through. Huh. We don't have a flush. We have a middle pair. He bets half pot. Could definitely, the fact that he has a huge stack means that he's probably a pretty good player. He could be trying to scare us off. I actually kind of believe him. I'm gonna tag that as what did he have. We can figure out tomorrow what he had. I suspect he had a Broadway card and either an ace or a queen. Okay, we get a caller here with our Jack-10 offsuit. Not a great... Ooh, this guy, all in. Okay, so... Is it 5 o'clock somewhere? This guy's drinking. He wants to play. Nobody plays with him. Alright, so we have about 3.5 minutes left, and then I'm going to go into explanation time, and we'll try to kind of look at the math of some of our losses and see if we did or did not do the right thing. Theoretically, we could have called that actually against the button. Big blind versus the button RFI. Our range says, hey, Todd and Josie, thank you. Thanks for the wishes of good luck. Appreciate. All right, we're gonna fold 8 suited. Here. I'm definitely doing a lot of folding. I think it's safe. I mean, let's see. So actually, Jack-10 from the hijack is a fold, according to my range there. if I were one seat later, if I was in the cutoff or a hijack, I would have played that. But we'll be okay letting it go. All right, so another pair of sevens. When the sand got us into trouble last time, we will see what it does for us this time. Facing an RFI here, but it looks like everybody's going to call. Let's see if we can... The big blind just... Yeah, okay. Ah, not a great hand. Not a great flop. No set. Three cards over ours. 4 people in the pot means almost guaranteed that somebody has a pair. An 8 makes a bottom straight, but then everybody else has a straight anyways, so I think we let this go, right? All we're hoping for, anybody with a king or an 8 has the straight already. That guy buys the pot. Okay. We have 1 minute left on our sanity timer. I mean, straight math, you should fold on average 5/6 of the time. Yeah. I mean, looking at my ranges, like from the button, I raise 43% of the time, fold 56% of the time. But then from the worst position, low jack, I'm folding 83% of the time and raising 17% of the time. So I'm sure that when you average all those out, it comes pretty close to something. Okay, so I've just been not paying attention and checking through, and we kind of miss a flush draw here. We'll bet and just take the pot. Okay, 10 seconds left on our sanity timer. Looks like we are not gonna get a hand to play. Queen 2. Suited from the button? Nope. Alright. Telling us to take a break. I mean, we'll check it here, but we won't put any more money in unless we see something crazy. Alright. So, let's switch to explanation time. So what I want to do is take a look at kind of some of the best or worst hands that we played during that session and put them into some of our equity tools and range analysis tools and try to just talk through whether we did the right thing or not, according to the math. So I feel like there was one that was very obvious, this double aces. I'm actually kind of curious if, like, yeah. We can look at this, but I think it's going to be pretty obvious that we just shouldn't have gotten in when he re-raised us at the end of the day. So if we look at what happened here, I initiate the 3-bet. They all call, and then given the flop, this is where it all goes crazy. So King 10 does a reasonable, like, 2/3 bet. I raise it, and that's probably, so the pot's 79 cents, says, and then I bet $1.45, so I basically did like an overbet there. And then he just goes all in. Now at this point, he has 2 pair, and I have a set, so I am winning. And I go all in, but then this guy who does flop the straight just calls. He keeps calling. We didn't even really have him on our radar because he was just calling the whole time, right? So bet, raise, call. Raise, call. So I mean, looking at our equity here, Versus ace diamond, ace spade. Or sorry, we have okay. So ace club, king diamond, 10 diamond. And he basically bets and then re-raises. So something like this. I mean, he called pre-flop. He called. So let's see. So 10 king. King 10's not. I mean, so basically, like maybe we just think about his calling range from before when he just called our 2-bet. So against something like this, we're looking pretty good. We're looking at like 87% against somebody who just the generic opponent who calls our 2-bet pre-flop. But given the fact that he, bets and then re-raises, right? He's probably going to have at least, so 2 pair here is probably good. He probably just doesn't have any draws, right? He probably has like it pretty made here. So I mean, we're winning 87% of the time against someone like that, but it's just but the problem is that we just, I mean, 10% of the hands have straights right off the bat there. So the fact that we just had, and then we had 3 aces. Yeah. I mean, Queen Jack offsuit, brutal. I kind of want to look at a better hand. I feel like that hand was pretty straightforward and not super interesting in terms of analysis. So I kind of want to look at something else here that maybe costs us some more money. So let's take a look at this. All right. So this hand, we are ace queen suited against ace king offsuit. Oh, this is my hand from this morning. Or sorry, lunchtime. So I 3-bet on the flop, and he goes all in, and I call. So I think the mistake here is just calling it all in with ace queen. I think what I actually ended up doing is I ended up looking at some more the Poker Theory book and kind of doing some reading and seeing that essentially ace queen offsuit or ace queen suited is not good enough to go all in with. It basically says like, basically the notes are saying that in the cutoff position, basically all in, you're only going all in pre-flop against king or with king or ace king suited, and you slow play aces. You can 3-bet ace queen suited, even all the way down to ace 10 suited, but there was no real reason to call his all in here. You could also theoretically 4-bet him, but I think it kind of went off the rails when he just went all in right off the bat. So I should have, and that's the problem, is I just wasn't familiar enough with all in ranges to really understand that I beat. So that was that hand. Let's find something more interesting here. Find something where the math surprises us or teaches us something. Okay, so here we have pocket eights in the low jack. We raise first in, and we get 3-bet, and so we call. So let's put that into the tool real quick. The tool is closed. Open it back up. Okay. So we have 8 heart, 8 diamond. And the opponent 3-bet us from the cutoff. So this is theoretically his range, which actually does not match what he actually had. So, which is interesting. Maybe we just look at some wider ranges that there. Okay, so we'll just use this range since it's wider. It actually matches what he had. I mean, here, like even that's probably a little bit more realistic. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. So, so we call his 3-bet, and the flop comes 2 of hearts, 5 of clubs, 10 of hearts. So this says that we basically have 51% equity. We're winning somewhere around 51% of the time if we just keep, made this bet a million times, right? So I actually think that I maybe did not realize that we were in that bad a shape. I think I was thinking pocket eights were actually maybe a little better than that. I think I need to kind of realize that even 6, 7, 8, 9 pocket pairs, probably not doing great against a 3-bet range. So, looking at the history here, first thing we do is we bet from out of position. So I think that's mistake number 1. We had no draws on flush or straights. We just had a pair lower than top pair on the board. So I think right there is mistake number 1. We should have just checked to him, especially being out of position. So what does he do? He calls. And so now we can kind of put this back in the tool and we can say, all right, so what does somebody in this position call with? They're probably at least calling with middle pair, right? And at least some draws here. So 1 card backdoor flush draw high. And 2 card backdoor. Yeah, I think I'm leaving those out, but I'm leaving the main flush draw in. The heart flush draw is what I was thinking of. Okay, so when we filter out all the crap of the not made hands, so basically if we're assuming that he's calling with at least middle pair or above, then suddenly our equity is now down to 16%. So right off the bat, I should have realized, the fact that he called should have given me a big red flag in my head. And I should have slowed down and not lost any more money. So let's see if that's what I did. I don't actually remember what happens here. So Jack of clubs comes up, where our equity reduces. and we check through. Okay. So I did the right thing there. 2 of spades comes up. Obviously, we're not looking good. We have even less equity than before, 8%. I check, he bets, I call. I think there that he is giving me, this is a significant underbet. He's giving me 13% pot odds. So I think what I need to realize is that they're probably not bluffing with a bet size that small. I mean, that's like, let's do the math here. With a pot of 171, that's like a 17% pot bet. So I don't know. I think it's technically the pot odds still say that I should have folded, because he's giving me 13% pot odds, but I have equity of 9% here. But I think the misplay was just maybe at the beginning here. Even just calling his 3-bet, I think, might even be questionable. So he's giving me 30% pot odds. And what do I have just despite? So despite not counting the flop, just based on the fact that I have a pocket pair, I have 45% equity. And he's giving me 30% pot odds, even just to call. I don't know. So technically it was a profitable, or, it would have been a profitable call in the long run. But then this was just the biggest mistake right off the bat. I should have just checked there. And I think that's something I need to work on, which is knowing when to... so theoretically this would be a donk. A donk is a poker term where you were not the aggressor the previous round, or you were not the last person to raise, but then the next round you raise before your opponent. And so if you look that up, it's like it has a very kind of specific purpose and meaning in poker, and it signals a lot of information to your opponent. And in this case, I think I just misused it or didn't know what I was doing, and probably shouldn't have been doing that. And I think part of it is just that I need to kind of keep track in my head what, remembering what I'm doing pre-flop. I think what happened was I probably forgot that he re-raised me. And so I was thinking, oh, I bet, 15 cents, so I'm going to keep betting. Probably just not remembering that I actually ended up calling his 3-bet. And so then I was now have multiple disadvantages, right? He raised me and I called, and I'm out of position, so that I'm facing a lot of disadvantages. Plus the flop is not very favorable, especially given his range, the fact that he 3-bet. So I probably didn't really think about a lot of that. And so I think that's kind of where I can learn, is just making sure that I'm keeping track of exactly what's happening. I am not somebody who normally is able to count cards very well. So I think that's just something I kind of need to work on. And when I say counting cards, I mean like literally being able to recite a sequence of events, at least like 4 or 5 things beforehand. And I'm just constantly watching and trying to memorize that so that I can recite it in my head and then make decisions off of it. In this case, if I had memorized what happened in pre-flop and then recited it in my head before I made a bet, I would have realized, oh, he 3-bet me, probably should check to him. So we can pull that up in the solver if we want. I mean, we have, let's see, so it's 4:45 right now. I'll probably call it at 5 o'clock, but for the next 15 minutes, might as well pull it up in the solver and just see what the solver says about it. I'm honestly kind of curious at this point. So we'll give it our opponent's range here. Oops. Position. Our range was the raise first in from low jack. Okay, so we entered the two ranges into our solver tool. We'll punch in the board, which was 2, 5, 10. So 2, 5, 10. Is that right? Yeah. Oh, 5 of clubs. Okay. And we'll just kind of use some default information here. Now, this is at the flop. We have about 87 cents. And we have about 12 bucks in stacks. And it's a 5% rake. And we will use our half pot, full pot, 75% default settings. And build the tree. And run the solver. And we will wait. Probably just going to take this about a minute to think about it. Yeah. So while we wait, not sure if there's much to talk about or what to do. I do want to just say thank you to all the viewers on the stream. Really appreciate you guys all watching. Not too often I actually get more than 0 viewers or more than 1. So yeah, I will. I have been trying to stream around between like 3 and 4 p.m. I try to start around 3 to 4 and then try to end by 5 each day. And I try to do it on most weekdays. I will try to get better. I've tried to start this new schedule now that I've been having a lot of fun playing poker. Of course though, as soon as I tried to start this schedule last week, and then this week work is just slamming me over the head with work. So I am pretty exhausted by 3 p.m. I managed to make it yesterday and today, but didn't quite get there. Hey, Danny F3BRY, thank you very much for the follow. Appreciate it, man. We are going to be wrapping up this solve here and then just see like how if we did an analysis on Flopzilla, and we're going to see if the solver agrees with our analysis here. So we are almost done solving. We could probably just stop here and be fine, but we'll let it go a little longer. See what happens. Okay, it's probably going to run once or twice more. So DEV is like deviation from expected value. Hey, Todd and Josie, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Wow, 2 followers today. I'm doing pretty good. That is actually, I think, a lot better than I've done in a while for one stream. All right. Now our solver jumped back up to 5%. Not sure what the hell it's thinking. All right, let's just stop at 2.8. That's fine. Makes for a boring stream just watching it think. Okay. So this is our range. It's a little hard to read on the stream. I wish it was easier. But essentially so with our pocket 8s, the first thing we did was bet. We surmised that was the wrong thing to do. We should have checked. And sure enough, the solver absolutely agrees with us. So the way to read this is that all of the greens are the solver checking in that position. So in this case with 8s, it is only even considering raising 0.5% of the time. So we obviously just made a huge error by yeah, closing in on affiliate 6 Ninja for sure. I mean, that'd be cool to be affiliate. I'm actually looking forward to it. I've been watching the Code Miko stream for like ideas. If you want to watch somebody who's amazing at like interacting with her chat, Code Miko and like is a developer kind of turned streamer, and it's hugely entertaining watching her stream. It's hard to find small stakes grinders versus the big tourney action. Yeah. And part of the reason I decided to just go small stakes versus tourneys is because I know what I don't know, and I don't know tourney math very well. But the first chapter in the book on modern poker theory is just 100 big blind, 6 max online, and that's kind of what I want to stick with because I just want to work on the fundamentals. I just realized I'm not great at the fundamentals yet, so I want to just stick with that until I have it down pat. So I'm going to keep grinding on the small stakes for probably a year or two until I want to build up a bankroll, and B, I want to try to get at least like 50,000 or 100,000 hands at this sort of the next level up in small stakes, and so that I can build a bankroll, learn the fundamentals, and just try to get good at poker. So yeah, so it's very obvious that I made the very wrong decision of betting there with the pocket eights. The solver checks it just about every time. So I don't think there's much to say there. I mean, so if we had checked, then our opponent is likely doing a fair amount of betting. It looks like it's kind of a mixed strategy on his part, so checking a lot, basically mixing his betting and checking about 50-50 is the way to read that. So our opponent had ace-10 offsuit. In that case, the computer is actually betting ace-10 offsuit more than it's checking. So it's betting half pot 57% of the time, full pot 12% of the time, and checking 30% of the time. In this case, our opponent had ace club 10 diamond, which the solver is, let's see here. So right here, ace club 10 club 10 diamond. The solver is betting a fair amount of the time. So our opponent is good. Our opponent did the right thing. Our opponent called, which is probably also just normal. I mean, obviously, so the problem is that if I go into the betting tree here in the solver right now to show what would happen if I bet, the problem is that it doesn't make sense. It won't give us good output, because then it would basically be the event where, by me betting, I'm signaling to the opponent that I have a very strong hand. So then the computer's going to act accordingly. Because each of these opponents in the solver are clairvoyant. They both know each other's ranges and understand what each other's doing. So the fact that I'm way off the tree by, I donked and bet that pair of eights right off the bat. But the computer would never do this. So then trying to look up the tree, what would happen there doesn't really make sense. So it doesn't really help us here unless I go and modify the solver to say oh, he's betting everything. In which case, I don't know. We could try that. It's about 5 minutes until 5 o'clock. So why don't we try messing with this just real quick? So if we do this and we say bet it all. Actually, let's go bet this, all that, bet all that, bet all that, bet our middle pairs. Okay. So now, this actually kind of matches that, right? Because now, we're betting our 8-8s. So now, theoretically, we could resolve by forcing the strategies, forcing a stupid strategy. So So if we force a stupid strategy, we can kind of see what happens here and see how the computer would respond. I expect the computer will respond by exploiting me very badly, which is exactly what our real life opponent did. And we can see what happens. But problem is we only have about 5 minutes left on the stream, and the solver is going to take a little while to think about this. So we just gotta, I guess, fill time while we wait for the solver to think. We could probably stop at like 10%. But yeah, so for all you guys who followed, A, appreciate it a lot. B, you know, I really like listening to music while this stream going. When I watch it back on video, I feel like it's missing something, which is the music. So yeah, feel free to stop by in the Discord and just you can click follow along on the music, and it'll play along with my Spotify playlist. So all right, so we're down to 3%. That's good. Let's see what it's gonna do. Okay. So now, knowing that we are going to be betting our 8s, and we click bet, what is our opponent going to be doing? Our opponent has, it looks like our opponent is folding a fair amount of his junk, and so this is kind of, I actually realize that this is, you can't read the key there at the bottom here. See if I can, darn it. Well, basically here, red is fold, green is call, and the other colors are raises. So in this case, our ace 10 is going to be calling most of the time, and even re-raising me a fair amount of the time too. So our opponent, good, us bad. So yeah, in this case, you know, we can click call and we can put in the card that was the Jack of Clubs. In this case, again, I should have checked, which I did. We actually both checked. And so this has him check in as well. We check into a 2 of spades. And this has us check in again. Yeah, with 8s, definitely computer has us checking. And it has the opponent. Oh, has the opponent checking the ace 10, which actually I didn't expect. Because he did have us beat there. And what does the opponent do? Actually, he bets. Interesting. So theoretically, that was a misplay by the opponent, but actually he just totally exploited us, and I would not call that a misplay at all in reality, but the computer would not have bet the ace 10 offsuit. I find kind of interesting. Now, ace diamonds 10, did he have? He had ace club 10. So ace club 10 diamond, the computer is raising it 5% of the time, checking it 95% of the time. So anyways, yeah, that is actually pretty interesting. I am kind of happy about, I mean, I'm glad I dove into that. I feel like I learned a bit, which is that, you know, just because I have a middle pair does not mean I should be leading out when out of position. I think I need to weigh more heavily the fact that I am out of position and my lack of information about the opponent. Plus, I need to kind of weigh in. I need to remember what my opponent betted on pre-flop and take that into account in the flop. And I think right now I am still kind of treating each street as like an independent experiment rather than taking in the variables from the previous street into the next street. So that's what I got to work on. Feel free to keep following me on the stream as I work on that and try to improve. It's going to take me a little while because I don't have a lot of free time, but hopefully, you know, go slowly but surely. So thank you all for watching.